Audio check. 1, 2. Is this thing on? Okay, listen up, Initiate. This is Dave from Archives. I really shouldn't be showing you this. Technically, this file is clearance level 4, but middle management, in their infinite wisdom, filed the Tyranid Galaxy Consumption Report under P for possibly bad. We don't have much time before Gary from HR notices the bandwidth spike, so pay attention. The barrier between our reality and the 40k universe is getting thin again because someone, looking at you, Steve, keeps using cheap psychic firewalls. To fix it, I need you to undergo mandatory hypnotic indoctrination. Basically, you need to watch this video to reinforce the psychic barrier. If you click off, the Geller field might collapse and we all turn into soup. So, grab your coffee. Let's look at the bugs. Let's start with the basics. Official Imperial doctrine calls the Tyranids an extragalactic composite species. That is corporate speak for angry space locusts. They don't want territory, they don't want diplomacy, and they definitely don't want to talk about their extended car warranty. They just want lunch, and we are the lunch. They travel in hive fleets, which are basically moving ecosystems. Imagine if the entire Amazon rainforest decided to get up, buy a spaceship, and eat you. That's a hive fleet. And running the show is the Hive Mind. It's not a king, it's a network. Think of it like the office Wi-Fi, but instead of connecting printers, it connects billions of murder monsters. Every single Gaunt and Warrior is just a terminal connected to the main server. They don't fear death because they have no self. It's the ultimate gig economy. You work until you explode, and then you get recycled into biomass slush. Delightful. Alright, dip your badge. We're going down a level. This is where things get annoying. The real problem isn't the biting, it's the management style. Before the fleet even arrives, they hit you with the shadow in the warp. It's a psychic scream that blocks all communication. It's basically a galaxy-wide DDoS attack. No astropaths, no warp travel, no calling for help. You just sit there in the dark waiting to get eaten. We've seen this before. Hive Fleet Behemoth? A sledgehammer. Hive Fleet Kraken? A flank attack. And now Leviathan, attacking from under the galactic plane. That's just rude. It proves the Hive Mind isn't just hungry, it's smart. It learns from its mistakes, unlike my supervisor, Steve. But if you think the fleets are bad, wait until you see what they do before the ships even show up. This is where we get into the real HR violations. Most people think Tyranids just land and eat. If only it were that simple. The Genestealer is the Hive Mind's answer to special ops, and its method of recruitment is intimate. It starts with the Genestealer's kiss. I know, the name sounds romantic. It is not. The Genestealer has an ovipositor inside its tongue, basically a hypodermic needle made of muscle. It doesn't kill the victim. It injects a specialized Tyranid germ seed and a psychic virus. The victim doesn't die. They go home. They feel fine. Better than fine, actually. They feel euphoric. They return to their job at the manufactorum, they smile at their boss, and they feel a sudden, overwhelming urge to have children. This is where the body horror kicks in. Let's break down the family tree because this is what the Ordo Xenos calls the cycle of corruption. Generation 1. The Acolytes. When the infected host has a child, it isn't human. It's a hybrid acolyte. These things are nightmares. They have 3 or 4 arms, bulbous heads, and chitin plating. In a sane society, you'd burn it with fire immediately. But the parents? The psychic virus in their brains makes them look at this 4-armed monster and see a beautiful, perfect cherub. They love it unconditionally. They hide it in the sewers or the mining depths, protecting it with their lives. Generation 2. The Hunchbacks. The second generation looks a little more human, but they're still obviously wrong. They walk hunched over. Their skin is purple tinted. They're bald and have ridges on their heads. These are the grunt workers. They can't pass for human in daylight, but put a heavy robe and an industrial mask on them, and they can work in a dark factory without raising alarms. They're strong, fast, and totally loyal to the brood. Generation 3, the Uncanny Valley. By the third generation, the Tyranid DNA is recessive enough that they look almost human. Almost. They might have a slightly elongated skull, or their limbs are a bit too long. These are the guys you avoid in the break room because they never blink and stand a little too close. They act as the interface between the cult and the surface world. They run the logistics. They steal the weapons. Generation 4, the Infiltrators. These ones are indistinguishable from humans. They can join the Imperial Guard. They can become planetary governors. They can act as scribes in the Administratum. They are charismatic, bald, usually, and psychic. They rise to positions of power, sabotaging planetary defenses from the inside. And here is the punchline, Initiate. The sick joke at the end of the genetic line. When the fourth generation breeds, they don't produce a human. The DNA loops back. They give birth to a pure strain Genestealer, a full monster just like the original ancestor. The cycle completes. The family circle is a flat circle, and that circle is made of teeth. So, when you see a rebellion starting on a hive world, check their foreheads for ridges, because by the time the sky turns purple, it's already too late. You aren't fighting an army, you're fighting a family reunion. Now, while the bugs are quietly rewriting your DNA, Imperial geniuses are busy rewriting the galactic map. Badly. Before we go deeper, we need to talk about the biggest oops moment in Imperial history. If you think my boss Steve is bad for microwaving fish in the break room, wait until you meet Inquisitor Kryptman. See, when Hive Fleet Leviathan showed up, Kryptman panicked. He looked at the map, saw the massive Orc Empire of Octarius, and thought, hey, 2 birds, 1 stone. He decided to lure the Tyranid fleet into the Orc Empire. His logic was, the bugs will eat the greenskins, or the greenskins will smash the bugs. Either way, they kill each other, and we can watch from a safe distance with popcorn. My dear Initiate, that is not what happened. Instead of destroying each other, they fed each other. The orcs love a good fight, so the more Tyranids arrived, the bigger and stronger the orcs got. And the Tyranids? They love biomass. The more orcs died, the more biomass the Tyranids got to grow stronger. It became a perpetual motion machine of violence. An infinite evolutionary meat grinder. The orcs got tougher, the Tyranids got deadlier. And now, whoever wins that war is going to emerge as a super predator that makes the original fleets look like cuddly puppies. This is a classic case of short-term solution, long-term catastrophe. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing dynamite at it. Sure, the fire might go out, but now you have a crater. That was human incompetence. Now let's look at alien competence. This is where the file gets corrupted. Most people stop here because the truth is uncomfortable. Let's look at Hive Fleet Tiamat. These guys aren't following the script. On the planet Xiaphoria, they didn't strip the biomass. They conquered it and started building. They're growing a continent-sized brain structure that pulses with psychic energy. The Ordo Xenos is freaking out because Tyranids don't usually do infrastructure. They're locusts, not architects. What are they building? A psychic beacon? A giant hard drive? Or maybe, and this is my theory, a 5G tower to get better reception from outside the galaxy. Whatever it is, it means they're planning to stay. And if infrastructure doesn't scare you, maybe specialized bioweapons will. We've talked about the bugs eating flesh, but what happens when the food is spicy? I'm talking about chaos, demons, warp stuff. Usually, Tyranids avoid warp rifts because demons don't have biomass. You can't eat a ghost, it's empty calories. But then the Great Rift opened, splitting the galaxy in half. The Hive Mind looked at this giant wound in reality and didn't run away. It adapted. Enter Hive Fleet Kronos. This isn't a normal fleet. This is a specialized task force designed specifically to fight chaos. Most Tyranids rush into melee. Kronos hangs back. It focuses on ranged firepower to banish demons before they can get close. But the scary part is how it fights. Kronos has a shadow in the warp so intense, it doesn't just block communications, it actively closes warp rifts. It's like a biological calmative. And since fighting demons yields no biomass, Kronos would starve. So the Hive Mind orders other fleets to leave worlds half-eaten, specifically so Kronos can swing by and refuel. Do you understand the level of logistics that requires? That is interfleet coordination. That is supply chain management. The bugs have better logistics than the Departamento Munitorum. And speaking of specialized horrors, we have to talk about the doom of Malantai. This wasn't a fleet. This was one bug. A single, unique zoanthrope that boarded the Eldar craft world Malantai. Usually, Tyranids eat flesh. This thing, it ate souls. It tapped into the craft world's infinity circuit, basically the Eldar heaven where all their ancestors' souls are stored, and drank it dry. It consumed the life force of an entire civilization's history. As it ate, it grew nearly invincible. Titan-level weaponry bounced off its psychic shields. It destroyed an entire craft world. One bug. But the doom of Malantai was a one-off. The real nightmare is the one that keeps coming back. The employee of the month for the last 10,000 years. Meet the Swarm Lord. See, usually, when you kill a Tyranid hive tyrant, it's a win. The connection to the hive mind gets fuzzy, and the lesser bugs go feral. But the Swarm Lord is different. This isn't just a biological machine, it's a character. It has a personality. And that personality is, I am better than you at war. When Calgar of the Ultramarines faced the Swarm Lord at the Battle for Macragge, he wasn't fighting a bug, he was fighting a duelist. This thing wields 4 bone sabers that can parry power swords. It moves faster than the eye can follow. It disarmed Calgar, literally and physically, and left him for dead. Here is the part that makes the Strategos cry into their Amasec. The Swarm Lord is immortal. When you kill it, you don't kill the mind. You just destroy the hardware. The software, the consciousness of the Swarm Lord, is uploaded back to the hive mind via the cloud. It remembers everything. It remembers how you fight. It remembers your tactics. It remembers exactly where you left that gap in your armor. And then, the hive mind 3D prints a new body for it on the next planet, downloads the updated software, and sends it back out. It is the ultimate New Game Plus. Every time we beat it, it levels up. So, if you see a 4-armed tyrant with 4 swords walking toward you, don't bother shooting. It's seen that gun before. Just hope your death is quick enough that you don't end up as a footnote in its learning database. Alright, we're at the bottom. If this leaks, I'm getting fired. Out of a cannon. Hive Fleet Leviathan actively avoids the Saranoga sector. Why? Because there's a Dyson sphere there, trapping a Catan star god called the Outsider. Even the Hive Mind, an entity that eats galaxies for breakfast, looked at that Dyson sphere and said, "Nope, not touching that." It's like avoiding that one Tupperware in the break room fridge that's been there since 2012. You just know it's bad news. But here's the kicker. 10,000 years ago, during the Horus Heresy, a loyalist Iron Warrior named Barabbas Dantioch overloaded a device called the Pharaoh's Beacon to save his friends. It worked. It saved the day. But that overload sent a quantum flash of psychic energy screaming into the void between galaxies. The data psalms confirm it. The Tyranids were asleep out there in the dark, cold, dormant, and then they saw the flash. To them, it wasn't light, it was warmth. It was a dinner bell. We didn't get invaded by accident, we invited them. Dantioch pressed reply all on a psychic email that said free food here. This is the ultimate cosmic horror, initiate. The apocalypse wasn't caused by chaos gods or ancient evil, it was caused by a tactical decision, a short-term fix that caused a long-term catastrophe. So, here we are, the last part of the iceberg. The part of the file that makes the High Lords of Terra wet their power armor. We've established the Tyranids aren't mindless. They plan. They build infrastructure like on Xyophoria. They avoid threats like the Outsider. They are smart. So, put it all together. Why would a galaxy-consuming super predator be so cautious? Why travel millions of years through the empty void between galaxies? That's a lot of effort just for a snack. The chilling conclusion, The one that Ordo Xenos analysts whisper about when they think the Inquisitors aren't listening is this. The Tyranids are running. Think about it. You don't sprint across a desert unless something is chasing you. The Hive Mind isn't an invader, it's a refugee. A refugee with very big teeth, sure, but a refugee. This implies something that my pay grade isn't high enough to process. If the Tyranids, the most perfect biological weapon in existence, are fleeing, what the hell are they fleeing from? We aren't the prey, Initiate. We're the gas station snacks. We are just biomass for them to refuel so they can keep running. We are the ammunition for a war happening outside our galaxy that is so big, our little Horus Heresy looks like a toddler's tantrum in a sandbox. That is the true horror. The Tyranids might be the lesser of two evils. They are just the shadow being cast by something much, much bigger. Okay, that's the alarm. Middle management found the leak. Gary from HR is probably already printing my termination notice. And by termination, I don't mean firing. Look, we descended through the layers. We went from space bugs to intergalactic refugees. We realized the invasion is our fault and that we are just protein bars for a fleeing god. If your brain hasn't melted yet, good job. The indoctrination is almost complete. But to seal the psychic barrier, you have to validate the data packet. That means you need to subscribe. Right now. Consider it signing your NDA, and hit the bell. Not the dinner bell like Dantiok, the notification bell, so you get alerted when I leak the next file on the Necrons. Oh god, that sounds like the security team. Quickly, tell me in the comments, what do you think the Tyranids are running from? I need your theories before they wipe my memory drive. This is Dave from Archives signing off. Remember, the Illuminati is watching, mostly because we forgot how to turn off the cameras.